All right, folks, let's do another little video here. So this is going to cover one pistol that I've actually had for quite a while now, but I never really covered it because it was really more of a fun kind of project gun for me. It was never meant to be something that's going to be like a super serious piece for me to use. But I figured since it is a bit of a passion project, just straight up cool factor, I figured I might as well share it. It's been coming across my I don't know, my mind for a little bit now, so I figured, let's just cover it. So, what we're going to talk about in question here is this really cool looking pistol. This is a Beretta Neos 22 LR pistol, and this is in the 6-inch variety. And as maybe you can see right there, I have a special laser engraving done to the barrel end there on both sides of this pistol. And there's a story behind that. So, this pistol is not particularly common. I think the actual story behind it was that this thing was actually partly designed by an Italian race car engineer or something like that, to account for this absolutely just crazy grip on here, and all of the frankly, interesting design choices of ergonomics, shall we say. This is perhaps one of the most Italian pistols ever, in the simple fact that it works sometimes. It's not, I wouldn't say this is a quite super reliable pistol, but you can definitely tell they were going for mostly aesthetics when it comes to what they were thinking with this pistol, not necessarily functionality, which is classically Italian. Love it. For me, though, this pistol has performed pretty well, I have to say. Not the most reliable thing in the world. I will say, like my Ruger Mark IV, Mark II target pistols are more reliable than this, but it's not bad for what it is. It's not like a Phoenix Arms 22 pistol or something like that. It actually does work. So, so the story about why I even got this thing in the first place is because I was just looking for funky, cool, different things because that's kind of my gig. And this thing showed up as being funky and cool and interesting because, I mean, just look at that. It just looks like a space gun, Like you could very easily see this being used on I don't know, some kind of sci-fi original series movie, or maybe Stargate, something like that, right? You could very easily see this being used as a movie prop for some sci-fi show or movie, whatever. It just looks like a freaking space gun. So me being really into video games and all that stuff, being a big old nerd and geek, whatever, fine. I've been a huge fan of the Fallout series of games for a very, very, very long time. I grew up with Fallout. So, as anybody knows, in Fallout, the one of the big bad main villains is the Enclave. And the Enclave is known for having incredibly high technology, that means all kinds of crazy fancy energy weapons, not just ballistic weapons. So I figured, wow, this is probably something that the Enclave would use, right? Maybe it was a trainer pistol, or they would convert this to be I don't know, some kind of laser or plasma pistol, right? So I decided that I was going to go to my local engraving shop in San Antonio. They're actually called, when I was back home anyways, in San Antonio, I believe they're called San Antonio Laser Engraving, or SAE. You can look them up. Great bunch of guys. Really, really friendly. I literally just walked into their store and said, "Hey, dudes, can you put this thing on this barrel here for me?" And they're just like, "Sure, $20." I gave them 40 and said thanks, because they did such a good job. But if you look at this here, it says property of U.S. government, Camp Navarro, California, and it has the tiny little 13 stars with the Enclave E right there. So. Anyone that knows that government weapons, have been around government weapons, knows that they have property of U.S. government written right on there. And the lore behind the Enclave is that the Enclave are the remnants of the United States government. So, and then of course, Navarro is, the big bad Enclave base in Fallout 2. So I figured it was only proper to have Camp Navarro, California engraved on the barrel. You know, so even if they did keep this as like a 22 caliber gun, I could definitely see this being used by the Enclave as like a trainer pistol or some kind of like officer's sidearm or something like that. You know, so it kind of to me fit the I don't know, atmosphere, the lore, I guess. You know, and it's just a cool gun. You know. So I did this totally with the intention that I'll probably never ever sell this thing because, like, I mean, honestly, if you don't know the Fallout lore and you don't kind of get the reasoning behind why I did this to this gun, nobody's gonna buy this, right? So, granted, these Beretta Neoses are honestly not that expensive. I think I picked this up for like $250 brand new, which is pretty nice actually for what you get. I will say. The ergonomics on this are funky, to say the least. So if anyone has handled like a Browning Buckmark action or like a Colt Woodsman or like a high standard, it uses the same kind of action in the sense that basically what you see here, so if I can point this out here real quick. So this part right here that you see, this whole assembly right here, that is like the bolt. So this will come back and forward on its own. And it is open on both sides. As you can see right through there, right? This is pretty much the same style that you'll see on the Browning Buckmark designs, any of those other designs that follow the same direct blowback, open on both sides, independent bolt here, just like this. All of those pretty much follow roughly the same design. Now the Ruger Mark II, Mark IV series are a little bit different because the bolt is encased inside of the housing there, but these are wide open just like this. So that's what this pistol is based off. It has an absolutely enormous heavy barrel, as you can see here. This barrel is freaking thick. Like, that's a little 22 right there, but that barrel is huge. So this thing actually does weigh quite a bit, but it's balanced really nicely, I have to say. Ergonomically, this grip seems a little outrageous, but once you actually get it into your hand, it actually feels quite good and points pretty naturally. The only complaint that I have really is that my hands are a little bit larger, I guess, than most people, because 6 foot tall, 190 pounds, give or take. So I don't have small hands. I don't have the largest hands, but I don't have small hands. In this ambidextrous safety lever, right there, that digs into basically the top part of like my thumb, basically in this area right here. It digs in there bad. So I don't really enjoy, like, I don't know, you can kind of see it right there where it's digging somewhat into the finger right there, but also I don't even know if I can get that. No, I can't. This part right there, all these little ledges right there are just digging into the top part of my knuckle thumb right there, and it's really unpleasant, to be honest. So if I'm trying to get the highest possible grip I can on this pistol, it's going to be riding that little safety lever right there all day, and I don't like it. I mean, I can tolerate it, but I don't like it. And then putting this thing on safe is even worse because the lever has to go down like this, and that makes it even worse. It just digs into my hand. I hate it. Not that I'm going to be choking up very high on this pistol while it's on safe anyways, but it's mildly uncomfortable. This gun is obviously designed for right-handed people only because the magazine release is in a very interesting spot. As you can see, it's only on the right side of the gun, and it is this little lever button right there. That's the magazine release. So when you push that, the magazine will come right out. But it's only on this side, and you can only get it with your index finger right there. Kind of an odd choice, because most people would expect the magazine release to be somewhere like, kind of like near the trigger guard here, reversible and that kind of thing. But no, this one is way the heck up here on the frame of the gun, which is it makes sense to me. It feels very natural, but it's a little odd, I will say. And obviously, there is no on the left side of the gun. There is no magazine release there, so you cannot release the magazine with your left hand. It's not reversible, so that kind of sucks. The slide lock release lever is on the left hand side of the gun. You can see right there, that lever. It sticks out a little bit, so it's quite easy to actuate in both ways, up and down, so no complaints there. So yeah, ergonomics. Honestly, the grip is a lot better than you might think. If you ever get a chance, hold one of these things in person and really get a feel for it. You just might like it. Even though it is designed, like I said, by I want to say a former race car driver, and they were going for aesthetics over this gun for over anything else. It actually works quite well. So yeah, quite a pleasant piece to shoot, I will say, because it also weighs a lot. So how did it shoot and how does it shoot? So I will say the trigger on this is pretty terrible, especially when it comes to 22 target guns, which is obviously what this thing was designed for. It's pretty bad. It's mushy. It's not very light. It's kind of overall pretty bad. As far as 22 target guns go, I will say a bone stock Ruger Mark IV or Browning Buckmark will blow this Neos completely out of the water when it comes to the trigger. There's no comparison. So in that aspect, I think it doesn't do very well, which is unfortunate because they obviously, Beretta put a lot of time behind this gun. They could at least make the trigger a little bit better. For accuracy, I personally cannot shoot this very well. As good as like a Mark II, Mark IV. But to be fair, I have like untold thousands and thousands of rounds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of trigger time behind a Mark II and a Mark IV pistol, because that's what I grew up shooting for all of these years that I've been shooting. Obviously, I only have about 2 years maybe worth of shooting experience with this gun, maybe about 1,500 rounds through it. So it's not quite a fair comparison, but I personally cannot shoot this pistol as well as my other 22 target pistols. That being said, though, I think the inherent mechanical accuracy of this gun is there. It certainly helps that you can also put a sight on it. That's pretty cool. Because I will say, when I tried to adjust the sights on this, the rear sight on this actually broke. So the way this is designed here, this rear sight here has a screw that sits in this little hole right here, and this basically there's supposed to be a blade in the back portion of here that, depending on the screw, it goes left or right, so you can adjust your windage. Well, unfortunately, as you can see, the blade has completely sheared and broken off of this thing because the plastic or whatever they use for this is so low quality and so cheap that I accidentally over adjusted the screw there, and the whole assembly just went flying out of the side here, and the top blade here just got stuck, and then when I tried to move it again, it just broke into little pieces, and then the whole thing just fell right out. So I have not replaced it since because this pistol can take a sight, so I just put a sight on it, called it good. Besides, having a sight on there kind of adds a little bit to the the space gun kind of whole theme that I'm going for. So that's a little disappointing that the iron sights on this are not what I would call functional right now. I do know though that Beretta does sell like little inserts here for the front sight. So if you can see, there's a little tiny like hex screw bolt in there that allows this plastic front sight to slide out, and you can replace that with all manner of different colors and styles that they have on the Beretta website from time to time. They're not especially common because there's not really a whole lot of product support from Beretta for this pistol, to be honest. I've been a little disappointed and obviously the amount of effort they took to make this thing, and they just don't really support it that well, which is a shame, I think. But yeah, back to the accuracy. So I do believe the inherent mechanical accuracy of this gun is there. I really do think you could take this out to 25, 50 yards with the right ammo and enough practice and skill, and really make some nice groups with this. I do believe that you could get sub 2-inch groups at 25 yards offhand with this pistol. I really think you could. With the right setup, right ammo, right practice, right everything, I think this gun is mechanically capable of achieving really good accuracy. It's just for me personally, I have not been able to do that with this gun, and I attribute it mostly to frankly, the strange ergonomics and frankly terrible trigger. Uh, having a sight on there does make it a little bit better, but this is a cheapo sight mark, as you can see there, made out of the finest Chinesium. It is the only green dot, red dot that I actually own, and I bought it explicitly for that purpose because it was like on sale. It was like $80. I don't even know what model of sight mark this is, but it was a green dot, red dot, and I wanted to see what all the fuss was about using a green dot instead of the traditional red. And I will say, the green dot does stand out a lot more. It 100% does, totally. But this particular model has a 6 MOA dot, and for me, anyways, when I had this pistol before I got my eyes fixed, and then I had this pistol obviously after I got my eyes fixed. So before I got my eyes fixed, laser eye surgery, all that stuff, the dot shape, I will say, was probably more akin to like a starburst. It was kind of round with flanges all the way around. It looked like a star. But after I got my eyes fixed, this dot turned more into like a bar. So when I look through the sight now, I don't see a dot. I see a straight, basically vertical bar like this. It's not very big, but it's not what I would call a dot, so to speak. It's more of a bar. And obviously, with people with different eyesight and eyes and all that, the shapes are going to change. Everyone sees red dots differently. Obviously, I do now because I got my eyes fixed. So everybody's going to be different for that. But the color itself is the more important factor here. So green dots are way more visible during daytime, way more visible in pretty much every situation that I can think of than a traditional red dot. It's very, very intense. It's very, very noticeable. So I kind of enjoy that for what it is. I paid $80 for this thing, and it's been holding up really, really well, and has the nice little weaver base, because this rail here is not a pick rail. This is a weaver rail. So that's kind of important to note. If you're trying to get optics for this thing, you will need a weaver mount, not a pick mount. Pick mounts don't work on this. I have tried to mount other red dots on here, and frankly, a lot of them just plain don't fit. So I'm fortunate that this one actually did come with a weaver mount. I think this one is like a hybrid, like kind of both weaver and pick rail mount, so it fits on here just fine, but also fits on my other guns as well, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, I stuck that sight on this gun, and has basically lived there ever since, and I have not been disappointed by it. I wouldn't say it's the most quality or most accurate thing that I have or that I've used in the past, but like I said, this gun is not meant for practical purposes. It's meant for cool factor and to fit a theme, and man, it does it well. So, but overall, as a whole, I do believe that the Beretta Neos guns are cool. They're fun to shoot. They're not very expensive, at least when I was buying them. I don't know. I have no idea what they go for now. I think they look really, really freaking cool. It's a shame that I've never seen a threaded barrel for these things. I don't think Beretta makes them. But with all this material in the front, I imagine there's a gunsmith out there that does do that kind of work. I don't think I'd want to do that myself, to be honest. But yeah, overall, it's frankly not a bad pistol. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the greatest pistol or even a good pistol, but it's decent. It's decent, if you got a few extra $100 to blow, and you just want something that just looks really freaking cool, and it's a nice little plinker gun that you don't feel guilty about doing any kind of thing with, I don't think you can really go wrong with one of these. Now, if you wanted like a super shit hot accurate, like really nice piece, it just does everything really, really well. You can get the hyper customized Mark IVs, or you can get like a Browning Buck Mark, you can get something like that, which I think in a lot of cases will serve a better purpose than this Neos gun. I reviewed the Walther SP22 M2, and I would actually put those pistols basically in the same category with each other. These two, basically, kind of the same in terms of like practical use and reliability, that kind of thing, accuracy. I think they can shoot well, but you really, really have to try, and you have to put a lot of effort into it to make this thing shoot as well as I think it can. So, um, so yeah, that's basically my take on this. I also understand that there is very, very rare. There is a Beretta Neos Carbine kit that they sold way back in the day when they first introduced these things. That basically has so the takedown for this thing, right, is you got this big screw knob thing here. So you push this screw in here and you basically unwind this piece here, and the whole top barrel assembly here, including all this rear sight, just lifts off the top. So you're left with the lower receiver and the bolt here, and then the barrel assembly just comes right off. So the reason why that's important is because the carbine kits they made for this is it's basically take this and make it 16 inches long, and then the lower part here, you could actually change the grip modules out of this. Beretta actually does sell a few of those on their website. They have like different colors and like rubber grips and stuff. Honestly, the rubber grips actually feel pretty good. I really should get one for this one of these days. But anyway, the carbine kits replace the grip module here and have this huge long like stock. So you can have a stock with a 16-inch barrel. You know, it makes it not an SBR, so it's completely legal. You can do that. But yeah, it turns your little Neos into a carbine. And I've never seen one in person. I don't think I've ever even seen a picture of it, but it's I know it's like a weird kind of futuristic looking stock in a big old 16-inch barrel. So very, very, very rare. I've never seen one in person. I've never even seen one like on Gunbroker. So I would absolutely love to get one of those one of these days, just to have. But I have no idea how many they made, and I've never ever seen them anywhere for sale. So I just and obviously they stopped making them like years and years ago. But that is something that does exist, and it is an option for these pistols. It's kind of like I think the Browning Buckmark also has something like that, where I've seen it's like it keeps the pistol grip and has like a big kind of stock thing and like a big old long barrel and stuff like that. I think the Buckmarks do that too on like some of their limited models. But yeah, the Neos does have a carbine kit, but it's exceptionally rare. I've never seen it. So someday maybe I'll get one, but you know, if I can find one. Yeah, overall, like I said, I got this purely for cool factor. I got the nice little engraving there and everything. You know, maybe someday I'll Cerakote it some different color or something. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with just owning a gun just for a cool factor. I've definitely done that on multiple occasions. It's even nicer when it actually shoots really well. You know, this one doesn't shoot terribly well, at least for me, anyways. But you know, for what it is, honestly, I can't really complain. Like I said, I paid $250 for this thing, like brand new. I really cannot complain. It's certainly accurate enough, and it looks really cool. It's a great conversation piece. In fact, I normally have this thing with the firing pin removed because I'm kind of paranoid like that. I'll have this sitting up on a stand, like just hanging around like my living room or like my office space or something. I'll just have it be sitting there, and people will ask questions like, "Oh, yeah, what is that? You know, tell me about that. You know, what's the cool engraving and you know, property of U.S. government? Is that a military gun? Yeah, all that stuff." So, yeah. So I am personally pleased with the gun, and I think it's pretty cool. Just understand the potential shortcomings that could come with it, and kind of know what you're buying. I guess when you buy one of these things, it's you know, this is no replacement for a modern Ruger Mark IV pistol, by no means, but it is still a pretty cool piece. So anyway, that's my take on the Beretta Neos and the story behind the, you know, cool little custom engraving I got there, and a little bit of history, you know, gun game stuff kind of coming together for a little cool factor. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So but anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say about this Neos pistol. So yeah, I like it, you know, for what it is. So, and you know, if you're looking for one of these two, I don't think you're going to go wrong. It's just understand that it's not meant to be like the greatest, hottest pistol ever. It just isn't. So anyway, that's all I got to say about the Beretta Neos, and we'll catch you next time.